You ever watch your whole life crack open from behind a kitchen window? One minute, I'm slicing up tomatoes for my wife's lunch, feeling proud I got home early for once. And the next, I see this rent-a-cop screaming at her in our driveway. And then, bam, he hauls off and slaps her. Just like that. Groceries go flying, milk spilling out and cooking on the Texas pavement, eggs splattering like someone stomping out hope. And this guy, this fake security guard, just smirks, straightens his plastic badge, and spits out, "Next time, follow HOA rules, lady." You can't make this up. If you've ever had a run-in with a wannabe cop or one of those HOA dictators, yeah, I bet you're already clenching your jaw. Maybe you've got your own horror story. Well, let me tell you what that guy didn't know. The training I just come back from? Not your average CPR and walkie-talkie seminar. Try advanced combat, the kind you don't get at the mall security kiosk. And the only reason I wasn't out there breaking his nose was because I was holding a chef's knife and reminding myself Sarah believes in kindness first. But God, that was hanging by a thread. Look, maybe I should back up. I'm Jake, Commander, Navy, 15 years active duty. Now mostly reserves, supposedly relaxed life. Sarah, my wife, she's a pediatric nurse, works the kind of shifts that make you question humanity and still comes home smiling for the kids. Emma's 12. Marcus is 9. They still think Dad's job is mostly swimming and camping, which sure, let's go with that. We'd only moved to Oakwood Estates 6 months ago, a little slice of suburban heaven, supposedly. Everything neat, lawns clipped like a military buzz cut, HOA fees you could mistake for mortgage payments. But, hey, the neighbors seemed friendly. Mrs. Chun next door brought over dumplings so good you'd sell your soul for the recipe. Rodriguez family 3 houses down. They wave every morning. On Friday nights, you can smell barbecue and hear kids laughing. It's peaceful, or it was, until Brenda Hartwell introduced herself. Picture a 50-something with a helmet of bleached hair decked out in enough activewear to make you think she'd run a marathon, though she only runs her mouth. She's HOA president, real estate agent, and, if you ask her, queen of the block. Vanity plates on her BMW red HOAPRES, because why bother with subtlety? She'll smile while foreclosing on your grandmother and then tell you it's for your own good. Week 2, I come home to find a violation notice zip-tied to our mailbox. The crime? An American flag. Unapproved decoration, it said. $150 fine. Remove in 48 hours, or we start stacking up penalties like you're running numbers for the mob. Sarah, being Sarah, called Brenda to talk it out. Got herself a polite lecture on community standards. Something about military families adjusting to civilian expectations. I'd adjusted to enemy territory, but apparently Texas suburbia was my Waterloo. We took down the flag, temporarily. I figured, play the long game. Sarah thought maybe Brenda was just misunderstood. That optimism lasted about a week, right up until Brenda hired her nephew Derek as security. Let me paint you a picture. Derek is 28, failed the police academy twice, drives a white pickup with magnetic security signs that look like they were made in a kindergarten art class. He struts around in a surplus uniform, trying to look intimidating. He's all spit and cheap cologne, and he couldn't intimidate a kitten, but with Brenda's backing, suddenly he's the law. Week 4, I'm washing my truck. Derek rolls up like he's busting a cartel. Commercial vehicle violation, he announces, spitting tobacco into a Mountain Dew bottle. I show him my registration, explain veteran plates. He shrugs. My measurement's what counts, pal. That line became his greatest hit. Every week, there's something. Lawn too long. Hose visible from the street. Kids' bikes not centered. Each one comes with a fine. Sarah tried talking to him. Got told maybe I needed to learn who makes the rules here. It was all so petty, it was almost funny, until it wasn't. One night, I'm up late, scouring Texas property codes. Turns out, Derek's citations didn't even meet the HOA's own requirements. No measurements, no signatures, no real process. I file a formal complaint. Brenda calls an emergency board meeting, 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, when everyone's at work. Sarah, bless her, goes to stand up for us. Walks into a room stacked with Brenda's friends and a coffee pot old enough to have voted in the Reagan years. Sarah lays out the facts. No documentation, no procedures followed. Can we please just do this the right way? Brenda's response? She doubles down, changes the rules mid-meeting. Derek gets full authority to hand out citations for visual violations. Suddenly, he's running wild. Fines for bikes, fines for hoses, fines for a doormat not perfectly aligned. The neighborhood Facebook group goes from posting lost pets to full-blown witch hunt. Some families just don't understand respect for authority. Military people think rules don't apply to them. Sarah tries reasoning, gets accused of playing the victim. Meanwhile, I'm digging into Derek's security company. Guess what? No license, no insurance, not even a real business. State boards never heard of him. Legally, he can't issue citations or claim authority, but he doesn't know I know that. I file complaints with the sheriff, the attorney general. I start pulling HOA financial records. Brenda panics, tells Derek to handle it. His answer? More intimidation. Every night, he cruises past our house, staring into our kitchen like we're an exhibit. He starts following Sarah to the store, sitting in the lot like a stalker. She tries to ignore him, thinking he'll get bored. But he's not getting bored, he's getting bold. The day he approaches our kids at the bus stop, tells Emma, maybe your family needs to move somewhere else. I feel something inside me snap. You want to harass me? Fine. My wife. Big mistake. My kids? Now you've wandered into territory where my training comes in real handy. But Sarah asked me to do things by the book, so I install cameras everywhere. Now every creepy drive-by, every fake citation gets saved in high def. I start a file. Derek's got DUIs, a restraining order, failed psych evals, real winner. Sarah, meanwhile, makes friends with Bob's wife. Bob's the HOA treasurer, Brenda's yes man. Over coffee, Bob's wife lets slip. Derek's making $3,000 a month off HOA funds, all paid under the table. No contract, no vote. Just Brenda funneling money to her personal goon. I start connecting dots. Embezzlement, harassment, fraud, the works. When I mention this to Bob at the next barbecue, he nearly drops his plate. Had no clue, none of the board did. Derek, catching on that he's being watched, decides to escalate. He blocks my truck in the driveway one night, tries to search my vehicle for contraband. I ask him for his warrant, badge, supervisor. Watching him stammer is almost entertaining. He finally admits he's just a contractor. I give him a quick lesson. Observe and report, pal. That's all you get. Next day, the Chins get cited for foreign decorations. Rodriguez family for cooking odors. Mrs. Patterson, our elderly neighbor, finds Derek in her backyard at midnight, inspecting her fence. Sarah creates a Google Doc, tracks every complaint, patterns obvious. Minorities, military, anyone who questions Brenda. Sarah gets ambushed by Derek at the hospital after a 12-hour shift. He blocks her car, demands she discuss ongoing violations. Hospital security eventually bans him. He files a fake 911 call, claiming military-style yelling at our house. Cops show up, find Sarah helping Emma with homework. The officer, a vet himself, warns Derek about false reporting. Word spreads. Neighbors start sharing their own stories. Mrs. Patterson's mandatory inspection. Young mom down the street. Derek follows her kids to school, says it's security escort duties. Even Brenda's friends start jumping ship. Brenda tries to throw Derek under the bus, claims she tried to fire him. Derek, sitting in county jail after the assault, decides he's got nothing left to lose. Hands over audio recordings of Brenda, telling him to make the military family uncomfortable, use any pressure needed. Recordings of her explaining how to hide embezzled funds, racial slurs thrown in for good measure. Prosecutors salivate. The neighborhood turns. Sarah, once the quiet optimist, becomes the leader, organizes meetings, coordinates with lawyers, sets up community groups. Our garage turns into mission control. Whiteboards, evidence, cookies baking in the kitchen because that's how she manages stress. We build a case you could teach in a law school class. The story goes viral. Local news, national news. HOA reform groups latch on. Veterans organizations lend support. Brenda tries to discredit me. Hires a PI to dig up dirt on my military record. Backfires when the Defense Department gets involved. Fake flyers appear, calling me dangerous, Sarah unfit to work with kids. The hospital, to their credit, stands by her, even UPS security. Finally, Brenda, desperate, tries to stage a break-in at her house. Leaves notes with military threats. Security footage catches her moving her own furniture. Detectives aren't impressed. More charges. She gets caught at the airport with cash, fake IDs, tickets to a non-extradition country. Arrested on the news, handcuffed, and screaming about conspiracies. The aftermath? Derek gets 18 months and a restraining order. Brenda, for years in federal prison and bankrupt. Sarah gets voted in as interim HOA president. The neighborhood actually improves. Property values up. Harassment complaints disappear. Our old flag flies again, this time with the whole street watching. But you want a real lesson? Sometimes the only way to beat bullies, whether they're in a fake uniform or hiding behind community rules, is to organize, document everything, and fight smart. I didn't want this war, but I finished it. For my family, for our neighbors, for every military kid who deserves to feel safe in their own yard. So here's my question to you. Where do you draw the line between standing up for what's right and letting power-hungry idiots run your life? Would you have fought back or just kept your head down? Share your story. Tell me about your run-in with neighborhood authorities. Because trust me, you're not alone, and together, maybe we can remind these suburban tyrants what real accountability looks like.